Hello, and welcome back to the Test Drive Podcast, brought to you by Sport Car USA. I'm your host, Lee Bodette. Here at Sport Car USA, we love all things fast. From stock Corvettes to tuned-up Hellcats, we love it all. So buckle up and come for a ride on this week's episode of Test Drive. Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to our podcast number 37. I'm Lee Bodette, your host. Scott Nickerson from Sport Car USA joining us. Hi, Scott.
How's it going, Lee?
Going very, very well. I've been a radio broadcaster for over 40 years. I host a series called Test Drive on the YouTube channel, and I'm the front man and host of Sport Car USA, and, of course, a car enthusiast my entire life. This past weekend, Scott, actually it was during a Friday evening, early evening. No, it wasn't. It was during
Saturday
Saturday.
night. Yeah.
So it was this past weekend.
Yep.
A little confused. Had a bad back injury a couple days ago, so it's messing with my mind as well. That's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. We did have a forum this past weekend.
Yeah.
Sport Car USA forum. We wanted to get all of the local car groups together, car clubs, and just discuss automobiles. Most importantly, the internal combustion engine.
Yeah.
Which I found very interesting.
Yeah, we've definitely seen a change, as we've talked about throughout all these episodes. We've seen changes in the industry as a whole and kind of the effect that has on car shows. And the way younger generations are interacting with cars is a little bit different. So we kind of wanted to host this forum to get everybody together and talk about things that we all have the same interest in.
Yeah, a lot of the speakers, we did have some speakers, and many of them were saying that they are fearful that the younger generation does not want to carry the torch for these internal combustion engines. They are into the modified Subarus and Hondas out there, and not so much into the classic or the antique or even, the modern muscle cars that Sport Car USA has.
And then EVs is a whole other category.
Exactly. So it's kind of a pivotal point.
Yep.
We don't want to lose the interest in the internal combustion engine, and I don't think we will. But yeah, there's no question about it. Things are changing, and not necessarily for the better or the worse, depending on who's looking at it.
They're just changing.
They're definitely changing.
But yeah, it was a good night. We were able to kind of host. How many people did you kind of come up with?
I counted 65.
At least.
I went home. This is what a geek I am. I went home and I just started writing people's names down that I recognize. And if they were with their spouse or significant other or whomever, I would put like +3, +2. And I ended up with 65 people. I'm sure I missed some. Yep. So I'm guessing probably 70, 75 at least.
That's good. And like we said, this is our first time doing it.
First time, yeah.
And I think that, especially in the small state of Vermont, we only have so many people and so long to drive these cars that it's good to have everybody on the same page and sharing ideas. And like, if this car show has something that another car show really wants to do, then like collaborate with them and like pull them in to do something. Like I know we were talking with someone who does a show in St. Albans, and they really liked kind of the education portion and things like that. And I was like, okay, well, the people in Waterbury, they have a big tech tent that they do stuff in, and they're trying to incorporate all this stuff. So collaborate with them, and it can only get better as you kind of unify. And And I think it's the best thing for the industry in here.
It was a big 2023 for Sport Car USA. We went to many, many events, and 2024 is looking just as busy, if not busier. We're planning on going to the Mecum auction in January.
Yeah, we might start the year off in January in Florida.
What a shame.
Yeah,
I won't be Vermont. What a shame.
Yeah, everyone will be snowed in here, and we'll be in Vermont.
And how's the calendar coming along, Scott?
Good. We should have it pretty close to wrapped up by the end of the month, hoping to get it ready for orders by end of December, early January, so people have as much time with it as possible.
This is a great calendar. If you'd like one, we'll send one to you absolutely free. You might as well get one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's cars.
Yeah, I think it's better than last year's.
Oh, that's great.
So if you got last year's and you liked it, this one will be better.
That was our initial calendar in 2023.
Yep.
So this year we're going to have new pictures of the vehicles and new dates, obviously, for all the car shows, not just locally here in Vermont and northern New York, but throughout the country. The Mecum auctions are going to be on there. The Barrett-Jackson auctions are going to be on there.
Yep.
And we're all over the place.
Yeah, and we're going to be doing, instead of 4 shows like we tried to do last year, we're going to be doing 1 show in May to kind of kick off the season here in Vermont. and it's going to be big. So
go to sportcarusa.com. You can apply to get your calendar, right?
Yep.
Request a calendar.
Yep.
And you're also going to find a lot of other things. You're going to see our inventory for Sport Car USA. If you're looking to buy a vehicle, there you go. If you're looking to sell a modern muscle car, get a hold of us
on there too.
Would be happy to put a number on it.
Yeah, for sure.
With that said, the forum number 1 for 2023, wrapping up the season.
Yep.
We videotaped it.
Yeah, we got a lot of good speeches, a lot of people that were very knowledgeable and kind of shared like what you talked about with their woes and the things that they see kind of going on.
Speaking of sharing, let's share the video right now. Forum 2023 from Sport Car USA.
Good evening. Folks, we're going to get started here in a second. If I could just have your attention. First and foremost, welcome to the first ever Sport Car USA Year in Review. My name is Adam Luna. I'm the general manager of Sport Car USA. I'd like to ask a show of hands of all of our veterans in the crowd. All of our veterans. If we could get a round of applause for these folks. Thank you very much. Happy Veterans Day. Sport Car USA just completed its 3rd year, and we wanted to start a tradition of the end of the year in review. There's representatives from a lot of different car clubs here, and throughout the year we try to get together, but it's tough. You got rain out days, we're all moving around, you got baseball practice, whatever the deal is. We're all busy, but we really wanted to establish a place where everyone had the ability to talk and to talk about their organization. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. We are faced with a world of impersonal mobile applications, the imminent arrival of the EV, hydrogens, and alternative technologies. That's not what scares me. What scares me is we are faced with the extinction of automobile enthusiasm. Sport Car USA, a handy cars company, specializes in buying and selling modern muscle all over the world and has created the YouTube and podcast series Test Drive, hosted by the great Lee Bodette, who we're going to have an opportunity to listen to momentarily. Sport Car USA is going to add one thing to the list we specialize in, and that is to carry the torch to the next generation of automobile enthusiasts. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you my good friend and the host of Sport Car USA, Lee Bodette.
Thank you, Adam. All right, who's ready to buy, sell, swap, or trade? Oh, wait, that's my other job. Sorry, I forgot where I was. Must have been the Raspberry Weiss. Welcome, everybody, to Sport Car USA's first ever public forum. This is a very informal evening. We want you to relax, have something to eat, which many of you did 2, 3, 4 times. That's okay. And engage in various discussions about automobiles. Specifically, as Adam mentioned, the internal combustion engine. We are all in this together, whether it's our love for Model Ts, antiques, classics, or modern muscle cars. These amazing automobile eras cannot end and will not end if we continue to show future generations the importance of keeping them in the forefront. It certainly was a very challenging year for car shows and car events this past year. The expression, "the show must go on," didn't always apply, but somehow most car shows and events did in fact take place, while it be it in the rain, mud, and whatever Mother Nature decided to throw at us. Sport Car USA is proud to host this forum tonight. In just a minute, we're going to play a short video on this past season's events that we were all a part of. We got to meet so many wonderful people, passionate people, from Swanton to St. Albans, to Waterbury to Lake George, New York. After the video, we want to hear from you. Tell us about your car club. Tell us about upcoming events in 2024. Tell us about why you love your prized possession so very much. Remember, this is an open forum for you. With that said, let's check out our year in review video. One of the leaders of the Vermont Automobile Enthusiast Car Club and a proponent of the internal combustion engine. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Wendell Noble.
As Lee said, I'm a member of the Vermont Automobile Enthusiasts. I've heard the word enthusiast used a couple more times tonight. I'm glad to hear it. To us, it means just exactly that. It's a club of folk who share a common interest in the history of automobiles and the automobile technology. And we call our car show that's down in, nowadays down in Waterbury, we call that the Vermont Antique and Classic Car Meet. Now, what's an antique car? Well, it's a moving target. Obviously, I have my own definition. I think I can safely say I'm the oldest person in the room here. And to me, an antique car is any car that's older than I am. And my fleet consists of 5 cars, 2 1928 Dodge Brothers, before it was Chrysler, the Dodge Brothers, 2 1929 Plymouths. Plymouth was first introduced in 1928, so these are pretty close to the first Plymouths ever made, and 1 1930 Chrysler. So they're all older than I am. You can guess my age based on that. What's a classic car? Well, boy, that one, there is an organization called the Classic Car Club of America, and they kind of claim they own the definition, and they modify it every year depending on who wants to join the club. So that's a broader category, but we love them all at our car show. Lee kind of indicated, I think, rather strenuously, that the internal combustion engine is what the heck cars are all about these days. They said we are interested in the history of cars, so I have enjoyed reading a good deal about it. In 1861, a gentleman by the name of a German engineer by the name of Nicholas Otto built the first 4-stroke cycle internal combustion electric ignition fired engine. That's the engine you're using today, very likely, that you drove here in. That was in 1861. By more than 20 years later, than after that, another German engineer by the name of Karl Benz of Mercedes-Benz fame made the first automobile using that engine that went into production. Things really started moving fast after that. If you think things have changed a lot in the last 20 years, I find it remarkable all the changes that took place between around 1890 and 1920, a little 30-year span there. The first automobile made in production in the United States was the Duryea, and that was, I think, around 1887 or something like that. There followed a whole bunch of other cars, but they weren't all internal combustion cars. There were a lot of steam cars and a lot of electric cars. The first electric car, in fact, was made, I think, in 1837 by some Scotsman. So when you see that ad on television, it says, "Go electric, Vermont." Too bad that electric cars hadn't been introduced before internal combustion. Well, they were. The problem was you couldn't go anywhere with them. They took a while for Edison to improve the battery technology so they could at least recharge it. But electric cars are very common. I think Henry Ford's wife even drove a Detroit Electric because she didn't have to hand crank it to start it to go somewhere with. But she drove it within Detroit. She, in those days, Detroit Electric, or it was a Baker Electric, Columbia Electric, if you ever had a Columbia bicycle, it's the same company. There were a whole host. I think a friend of mine totaled up something in the teens, the number of electric cars that were made around the turn of the century. They're all gone now. And there's a reason, and the very same reason that you're probably reluctant to buy one now. Range anxiety. In those days, the range was maybe 40 miles. You brought it home and charged it overnight. Steam cars. There's a few of those in Vermont. There's one guy down in Woodstock who is the world authority on rebuilding Stanley steamers. Steam cars are very popular, and there was a Stanley, you of course have heard of. There was a Locomobile a grout, a white was made by the White Sewing Machine Company. The last steam car made in the United States was 1931, I believe. That was the Doble. Marvelous car. Problem with steam cars wasn't range anxiety due to you're running out of fuel. It was due to running out of water. And I have know a friend that's in our car club, lives over in Hyde Park, and he has a couple of steam cars, and he'll bring them down to the car show. But he makes sure he knows every house along the way that has an outdoor faucet, so he can stop and refill his water by the time he gets to the show field. The other shortcoming of steam cars, of course, is you don't just hop in it and go. You got to build up steam first. So you got to get the fire going, come back in 20 minutes and see if you got steam, then you can go. And but the range problem due to water shortage was solved a little bit by this Doble, which I saw Jay Leno. I don't know if you ever watched Jay Leno's Garage on TV, but he has a Doble. He took it out. Fascinating car, marvelous car. It manages to capture the steam, condense it, and put it back in the boiler again. So at least they don't have that problem. But what really brought the demise, I think, of steam cars was the lack of horses. Because back in the day when horses were popular, every settlement, every village had a watering trough in the middle of the village somewhere where you could water your horse, and you could also fill up your steam car with water. With that gone, it became kind of awkward to try and do any distance with a steam car. So the internal combustion engine, the Otto cycle engine that we know today, prevailed. It still does. I'm sure you're getting a lot of encouragement to buy an electric car. When you feel ready, good luck to you. I think you'll find the government will make the price right, but I'm not ready yet. So I'm still living in the past with my late 20s vintage cars. I love them. I have never owned an automatic transmission in my life. My cars all have the transmission that we jokingly have called the crash box, because every time you go to shift, you got to learn each one has its own personality. It's not synchro-meshed, so that you could easily grind your gears, whether you're shifting up or down. You'll learn to double clutch, you'll learn the personality of the car, and that's the fun of doing it. I think something called synchro mesh was introduced in, I think, around 1930. General Motors introduced it in Cadillac, and that is synchronizers, so that when you go to shift from, say, low gear to second gear, you can do it without grinding gears, because the gears are automatically synchronized together, so they're moving the same speed and they'll mesh. And so probably if you've ever had any experience driving with a manual transmission, that's what you drove. And the 3-speed manual transmission with synchro mesh was kind of the standard for everybody. If you ever learned to drive in the 60s or 70s, you probably learned on one of those. When my cars have the shifts on the floor, around 1939 or so, around when I was born, they started moving the shift up onto the steering column, called the 3 on the tree instead of 3 on the floor. And the advantage of that was that you could actually get 3 people in the front seat, didn't have the gear shift in the middle, so you didn't have to grab somebody's knee when you wanted to shift. But they slowly were replaced for most people, by automatic transmissions. Those came around, I think the first I knew of was, I think, Oldsmobile with a hydromatic transmission. And it was Oldsmobile and Cadillac, and that was in the 40s. Kind of a hybrid between the automatic and the manual transmission. We called it a standard transmission in those days because it really was standard. Chrysler came out with something called fluid drive, where the flywheel would have been on the engine, there was a fluid torque converter, so you could actually shift without using the clutch if you slowed the engine down, and had a regular transmission behind it. So that was kind of the step into the automatic transmission. The automatic transmission gets rid of the clutch completely, whereas these Chryslers still had a clutch you could push in. But it's marvelous the changes that have taken place in my lifetime. I'm talking about a lot of things that happened before my lifetime. But my goodness, my first car was a 50s vintage Ford, and I had a 50s Chevy and a number of things after that. If you had a car in those days, you claimed you were getting 20 miles to the gallon, you were either lying or you were going downhill. It couldn't be done.
Here you go. Thank you, Lee. We got one of our guys is chickened out down there, Jeff King. We are from the Old Derelict Car Club. This is Brian Kendrew. My name is Steve Grenier. We put on 2 shows this summer, one down at Georgia Beach and one here in the park in St. Albans. Everything was for Camp Tecumseh, the camp over in the islands for children with cancer. We did really well. We're going to put that number out later on so that everyone knows how we did. We're avid car guys. There's only 4 of us in the car club. Jim Lewis is also in the car club, who isn't here tonight. I don't know, if we don't keep this going, I don't know who's going to. A lot of the younger generation, they don't seem to care so much about it, and they really don't seem to care too much about the older cars. I have a 69 Chevelle, and a lot of the young guys they don't seem to, it doesn't do it for them. I guess I get it. Everybody has a little bit of different niche when it comes to cars and stuff like that. We've had great support for our car shows, great support. We had a little rain issue, the one we did at Georgia Beach. Then we had to change our venue because the second one that we did here in St. Albans was supposed to be up in Stowe. And then the weather, as we all know, the weather dumped on us. So that didn't do us very much good, but we had really good turnouts considering what happened.
You know, and everybody's alluding to the fact that it seems like the car culture is dying. People aren't interested in it like we were when I was a kid. I mean, I had a couple hundred Matchbox cars. That's how I got involved with cars. And when I started getting into shows, I was doing it with motorcycles. And I have a 58 Harley that I did a lot of shows with. And I got my grandson interested in it. And so now he does the shows with the Harley. And he enjoys it. He loves it. He's 15, and he really gets into the shows. And that's the thing. We all got to do that for other people. We've got to keep the kids involved in it. Now I've got a 61 Ford pickup. My grandson loves that. He loves to go to shows with me. And back to the standard shift deal, it's a 3 on the tree. And like I say, that's a anti-theft device. Nobody can drive them anymore. But they're a lot of fun. So that's all we got to do is just keep it going best way we can. And that's why us guys as a club, we enjoy our cars. We enjoy talking about our cars and doing things with them. And it's our way of giving back to the community and to keep this all going. So hopefully we can all just keep it going. Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to do 2 shows again in 2024. We have not got the dates down yet. There'll be one early summer and one in the fall. So y'all keep your eyes open. We'll advertise it the best we can. Be on Facebook. We'll put out posters that will be on the radio. Like I say, everything we do goes to Camp Tecumseh. Everything we get goes to Camp Tecumseh. And we've had such support from the car dealers and the businesses around. It's just been phenomenal. We're going to make that presentation to them in December, I believe the 12th, Jeff? Yeah. On the 12th, we're going to go down to Burlington, I believe. And
Cool 105.
Cool 105 is going to host this whole thing. So for any one of you guys that has come to our shows, thank you so much. Please come and see us again. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. The Old Derelicts Car Show. Can't wait for that to happen next year. Another car show that's coming up next year is the Classic. And Kate Manaham is here. Kate, thank you for coming. She has worked relentlessly to make it one of the best shows in the entire state of Vermont. And it benefits the St. Albans Fire Department. So again, that's July 20th. Mark it in your calendar. It'll be on our calendars for sure. The Classic, which is at St. Albans, right in the Taylor Park area. Thanks, Kate. Really appreciate that.
All right. So I'm great with kids. I'm horrible with adults speaking. So I'm just going to go with it. Can you guys all hear me without a microphone? Okay. So I'm Rhonda Drake. I'm with the Cars of Yesteryear Club. This year will be our 40th show. My dad was one of the founding members in 1984, so I've literally grown up working at the shows and being there. And again, I'm hearing the same things as what we're experiencing, right? We're not having the same amount of people. However, one way that we have been getting some new kids in is we partner with the local tech center and their transportation automotive program. And we actually, if you want to mark it on your calendars, Saturday, May 11th, the students actually host a safety day that's open to the public. And we bring our old cars, people can bring their everyday cars, kind of do a quick safety check. And then we present a toolbox full, completely stocked of tools for a student who has shown their hard work and dedication and enthusiasm through the program, and also through helping local people restore their car within the class. And then they also do an interview with us. And then our big show, which will be our 40th, is the first Sunday in August. So it's August 4th. And we use that to fund our scholarships for students that are going into any automotive related field. So we've done students in welding, in body, in mechanics, heavy machinery. And so that's one way to keep our enthusiasm going for that next generation, is to get them involved. So if you can mark that on your calendar, we'd love to have you May 11th, which is a Saturday, to help support those students in that next generation, or Sunday, August 4th for our 40th show. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll mark that on our calendar as well. I want to thank all of you for coming tonight. I want to give a special shout out to Adam Luno. He's the guy that came up with this crazy idea of Sport Car USA. I don't think he sleeps. You can ask his wife, Danielle. I don't know how he sleeps or when he sleeps, but thank you, Adam, for everything you do for all of us representing Sport Car USA. Thank you. It's our first Sport Car USA Forum. Have a great night, and we'll see you in 2024. Well, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a great night.
It was a lot of fun. And, you know, we were hosted by 14th Star, so obviously a big thank you to them for allowing us to have the space and being very helpful and serving drinks all night to everybody.
Delicious food.
Yep, we had food from Mimo's, I believe.
Yes, Mimo's Pizzeria in St. Albans.
Some baked ziti, and they were like little calzones and things like that. It was great. So
it was good seeing everybody again. And when you look at a video like this, you kind of forget certain aspects of the year and say, oh, yeah, we did that. Oh, yeah, we were there.
Yeah.
I think one of my best portions of that video would be when we're sitting on the couch. And to be honest, I had a couple drinks in me. Yeah, just a couple.
Warmed up.
But I was warmed up in a very, very, how shall we say, relaxed.
Vacation mode.
Yes, like Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers, formerly Relax, RELAX. So it was fun.
It was fun. And that's a whole, we have that posted separately as a whole other video if you want to watch just that. It's kind of our year-end recap. And this is kind of going through all the good speeches and everything else.
Second time I've ever been on a couch. The first time, we won't get into that.
No.
I was lying down and they were asking me a lot of questions. Thanks for listening to our Test Drive podcast. Scott Nickerson, thank you very much for being with us from Sport Car USA. I'm Lee Bodette, your host. Be sure to check out our Test Drive series on YouTube. We'll see you next time on our next Test Drive podcast, which will be number 38, because I know how to count.
Good work.
And remember, let's never forget the men and women serving this great country of ours. Goodbye, everybody.